Hello everyone, we're gonna cook some omelette today and we're gonna make omelette out of 3 eggs, but we're gonna remove 2 egg yolks out of that just to decrease some of the cholesterol. And we're gonna cook omelette with some vegetables. Let's start by cracking the eggs. A lot of people ask me how to remove the egg yolks. It's quite simple. You just scoop them out. And you can use your hands to scoop them out. Some people are grossed out by removing the egg yolks. If you're grossed out by reaching out there, I had washed my hands just before cracking these eggs. If you're grossed out by just reaching out like this, you can use a spoon to do this. They have some eggs separated too, but I don't think it's required. Just by doing this and just preserving one. After doing that, it's a good idea to wash your hands because it's raw eggs and some can be contaminated with salmonella. Wash your hands very well. This way there's no cross-contamination. And we can go to the stove to prepare our omelette. All right, let's get a whisker and whisk up the eggs a little bit. If you don't have a whisker, you can use a fork. That works perfectly, okay? Great idea to all the dogs in the background. It's a regular household. We're gonna whisk up the eggs a little bit. And sometimes for the omelette to get extra fluffy, you can add a little splash of milk. I use lactate milk. But today I'm not going to use any milk. I'm just going to use eggs. Let's go ahead and cook. We're going to use some spinach, tomatoes, baby portobello, and I had some asparagus that I also chopped down the asparagus. We're going to add a little bit cheese on the top of the omelette. Let's go ahead and go here. We're going to heat up the one frying pan to cook down the eggs. And we're gonna do a folding omelette today. Next time we're gonna do just a simple scrambled eggs with veggies. Go ahead and heat up this pan. Good idea to let it get plenty of heat underneath and before you put your oil. We're just gonna use like a tablespoon of oil to cook this omelette. You don't need to use too much oil. There's plenty of oil in the cheese and also the egg yolk. You don't want to add too many calories to this omelette. Just 1 tablespoon water is enough to cook down the veggies. Wait until that's a little hot and we bring the veggies. We always start by the harder vegetables first. We're going to start with the asparagus because it's little more crunchier than the other vegetables. We do the asparagus. And since I like my mushrooms a little more cooked than some people do. Some people don't mind the mushrooms to be less cooked, but I like my mushrooms cooked down until they're very well done. I put them together with asparagus. I'm gonna let it cook for a couple of minutes and then add the tomatoes and spinach. After they cook down a little bit, we're cooking a high heat, and we're gonna use I'm gonna put here on the side. We're going to use seasonings, and the seasonings that we're going to use is black pepper and lemon pepper. This lemon pepper already has some salt. This way we don't need to add any extra salt to our veggies. We're going to add a little salt to the eggs, just because eggs without salt doesn't taste very well. But just a little bit. Since it's fresh eggs, you don't have to add so much salt. Let it cook for a couple of minutes, and you can see that the vegetables are steaming. You don't need to add any water to steam these vegetables. They're already cooking down very nicely. Right. A little sticky here on the spoon. Excellent. I think it's enough for now. I'm gonna add the tomatoes. And spinach. This is also baby spinach. And I am going to use a little black pepper to taste. I love black pepper. And some lemon pepper. If you want to just use a little pinch of salt and pepper, it's completely okay. And I like the flavor of lemon. That's the reason I use some lemon pepper. Give a little stir the vegetables to combine all the flavor of the seasoning. And you can see that already releasing some of the juices of the vegetables. Let's cook down for another minute. I'm gonna turn down the heat, and I'm gonna start the heat under this frying pan where we're gonna, oops, is the center. Let's use this one over here. Since the vegetables are already cooked, we just can set aside. We're gonna use this on high heat to start the eggs. This is already cooked. I was just gonna keep on the heat, but since this burner is decentered, we're just gonna keep it closed over here. As this heat up, we're gonna let it be very hot for the egg not to stick to it. It's very important to use a frying pan that is non-stick. This step over here is important because you don't want your omelette to stick to it. But if it does, you just make a scrambled eggs. Not a big deal. You're gonna eat it anyway. It's not for show. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of oil. This oil over here you can also use spray oil. Try to coat all the surface of the pan. Right. Gonna let it heat up a little more. And bring my pan. We incorporate a lot of air in this egg. See, we just have one egg yolk, but it added a lot of color to this egg. And this oil is very hot now. We're gonna put it over here, and we're gonna spread like a crepe dough. Let's add. All right. Set this aside, and we just gonna spread on the frying pan to cook evenly. By doing this, it becomes almost like a crepe dough. If you're not comfortable about doing this, you can scramble the vegetables together. And another day we're gonna make a frittata that is already mixed, vegetables mixed with the eggs. Now we're gonna cover this to let it cook the top. I'm gonna sprinkle a little salt just to flavor a little bit the eggs. Alright, I'm gonna take off these edges from the spoon and make sure the edges of the eggs are not stuck over here. Alright. And let it cook a little longer. Just one more minute. We want it to cook, but don't burn the bottom. And remember, we're still cooking on the high heat. You don't have to be worried about it. You just have to keep checking over here. See, the bottom part is not too gold yet. And the top is firm. See, the egg is cooked on the top. Now, I like to add a little cheese. Just a little bit before I add the vegetables. Make it very tasty. But if you don't like cheese or if you cannot eat cheese, you can skip this step. Now you add the vegetables to one side because you're going to fold the other side over here. Otherwise it gets too heavy to fold. You add to one side. I always make too much vegetables, but I always end up eating all the vegetables in the end anyway. And now we're gonna fold the other side. Ooh, look at this, nice and gold. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit on this side, and I would like to add, since I like to live dangerously, I like to add some little cheese over here. And it almost looks like a burnt cheese in the end because it's gonna melt a little bit. Now we're gonna turn it off because it's cooked. We're just gonna let that cheese melt. Turn off the heat, let the cheese on the top melt, and our omelette is done. We just need to try this beauty. Look at this. 1 egg yolk, 3 egg whites, and you can share with someone. And this one is omelette to share, or you can save half for later, or even for tomorrow. You can save this in the refrigerator for later. All right, let's give a try to see how it tastes. The smell is delicious. Let's see how it tastes. And it's mainly egg whites, lots of protein, and very hot. Delicious. It's hot, but the egg is very fluffy. The vegetables are cooked but crunchy. I hope you guys can try it home. Next time we're gonna make a frittata, and also we're gonna make some scrambled eggs with vegetables. This way it's not so intimidating to fold the omelette like that, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed and try at home and enjoy a delicious veggie omelette instead of adding so much meat to your plate. Thank you, bye.